Too many fossil fuels. Too many environments being destroyed to extract more fossil fuels so we can pump ourselves down the road just for a few more days. Eventually we're going to have to give it up. We're going to have to make transitions back to local economies and walking, imagine that. Pedestrian activity, redesign our cities and all those different things. We're back to where it was. But I was involved in renewable energy infrastructure building 15, 16 years ago, and I raised money for a Sterling Energy Systems 40-foot large solar focusing dish for producing 90% efficiency from the sun. And there are power plants now in California built with that technology. And unfortunately, the banks are only funding PVs right now, which run at about 20-30% efficiency, where these panels, these large solar focusing dishes, are 90% efficiency. 100 square miles of those in the Nevada desert would power the United States of America. Everything. 100 square miles of desert, unused desert. The old Nevada test site. So, it's all within the realm of possibility. So keep imagining and dreaming it. And if you can do it on your own local level or in your own household or commercial level, do it. You know, get off the grid monetarily. Get off the grid with energy. I noticed over at Whole Earth Foods, they got the charging station over there. It's really cool. There's one car charging up over there. So it's hope. But then again, how did that electricity get produced? See, it's charging the electric car. So the electric car is not a solution unless you get to the source. You need to create a whole new grid and a whole new distribution system for producing and distributing the power in more local environments instead of just in big transmission lines all across the country, which lose 50% of the power just by the fact we pump them up there and bring them back down. So now you can distribute renewable energy directly in 12-volt and 6-foot superconductor cables with zero energy loss. So you can locate your renewable plants close to where you're going to consume it. So anyway, all that is happening, and countries like Germany have already maxed out their renewable energy potential there. They've already built the infrastructure for solar and wind and everything else. And they did it in a matter of a couple of years because they put their minds to it. I was reading a funny, I read The Onion now and again to get a laugh because some of these materials can get a little serious. So as we all know, Stephen Jobs passed away recently, and so The Onion had a whole feature on Stephen Jobs, the last American who could get anything done. And so they were giving him all kinds of praises and lauds for the Apple computers and the iPods and all the things. He says, you know, and we're really sad to see him go because he was the last American to ever get anything done. And then there was an interview with Obama, and Obama said, well, you know, when I got elected, I thought I could get something done, but now I've given up. There ain't nothing I could do either. So it's like, oh, what are we going to do? Who's going to get anything done? Well, one, we got to stop being the anesthetized culture. The anesthetized culture ain't going to get anything done. We have to wake up and take care of ourselves and really, truly be here in our life and manifest something that's new and extraordinary. So anybody here support renewable energy infrastructure? Woo! Yeah. And you can invest in it too. It's probably the best investment you can make. Those companies are making money. And last but not least, which has been one of my heart's dreams for many, many decades now, since about the mid-70s, and the last 4 years I spent developing a resource center web platform to deploy resource centers locally, regionally, and globally, and have deployed them now in a small community in Southern Oregon, Ashland, with great success, and also regionally in the Northwest, and just launched a prototype for one in Austin, Texas yesterday. Took me 4 hours to configure one for Austin. And I've been on a 5,100-mile journey so far, seeding new local resource centers that highlight and spotlight all of the emerging culture, all of the resources for holistic health and healing and renewable energy, and all the positive things that are emerging, so that a cultural identity can be formed over the internet, and we can access each other and form trade routes between various communities, enlightened communities I call them, like Austin and Ashland and Fairfield, Iowa, and Ann Arbor, Michigan, and you know, all these different places. And there's hundreds of these zones that are the innovation zones, the places where the free thinkers hang out, you know, and the ones that are starting up new things and getting new businesses going and have, you know, capability and resources. So that's been one of my missions, is to get resource centers established worldwide. If you didn't get a card, you can get a card. You can go to the site there and you can find the Austin Resource Center, among many, many others. And you can join for free.
Or create one here.
And if you're interested in being a local organizer, come see me after the show here, and we could create a better than a JOB, but actually a business for you here too. So, I love seeing your faces on you. So beautiful. A few more time for comments and questions. I've told so little about my life story. Maybe I'll tell a little bit about that.
How do we keep the public servants from recognizing our sovereignty?
They're not going to recognize it, ever. You got to recognize it. They're not designed to recognize your sovereignty. Don't expect it of them. And don't demand it of them by any means. There's no judge in this country that's going to tell you you're sovereign or recognize your sovereignty.
You've got to stop asking permission to do every damn thing.
That's right, exactly. You are sovereign, that's right. When you're on a pure mission, you don't need permission. Yes?
Are you going to speak about a loyal title tonight?
I'm going to go a lot more into detail tomorrow because those are nuts and bolts things, but I will speak to a loyal title because that ties into the old common law system. The common law, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Treaty of Paris, laws of nations, all that was common law. And that came down through the money system. You had to have a money system to have common law contract, so that when we entered into agreements that we could utilize common law and have common law courts and go to common law courts. There were common law courts, which the county commissioners are the residue of the original common law courts that used to exist here. They used to be justices of the common law courts until a few things changed over the last couple hundred years, as you have seen. And so the ownership of land based in the common law system was based on the land patent and the allodial title. So originally all the land was conveyed from the king over to the United States, its new government and trust, and to Congress. Congress passed certain laws and homesteading acts and land acts whereby it would then distribute land, etc., and bring it into the private sector. And for every one of those, land patents were issued to the people who paid gold and silver for that land. They received a patent on that land, 640 acres or whatever it was, and that was the highest evidence of title that you can get, is the allodial title based on the original land patent signed by a president of the United States. Every square inch of private property in the United States of America has a reference to a land patent. Every one. But what has happened over time, like everything else, is we have abrogated the allodial title. And I know the jaws drop, what's an allodial title? I never heard the word before, because we have been educated and dumbed down so far that we have lost sight that that is really the true title of the property. And that what we're dealing in instead is equitable title, which just is the amount of paper fiat money equity that we're buying and selling real estate with. And all those allodial titles have been abandoned, just the way we abandon everything else in the country. And so you have an allodial title, and you have an equitable title. If you have an equitable title, you have a claim that you're in the chain of title from the original land patent to you. And therefore you simply unilaterally declare that you update the patent, bring it forward, declare those rights, give notice, post it on the land, and now you have absolute title and equitable title to that property.
So that's possible?
Yes.
You're saying we can do that?
Yes.
Yes. And if everybody did it, guess what?
Is a nation that is bankrupt, do they still have a loyal title possible? They're gone through bankruptcy?
Well, we don't have a government, it's true. We don't really have a nation much any longer. But we can still assume and inhabit the republic if we choose. So if we choose to do that, then we can restore those patents and we can at least assert them as if they were true and see what happens. It can't hurt anything. It's not going to hurt anything. You're no worse off. You don't own your property now. Nobody does. Nobody owns anything. Not one stitch. The stitch of clothes on your back is all you own.
About your class tomorrow, it's from 11 to 3, and how many people were going to be able to make it?
I'll be here.
1, 2, 3, 4. Is there any way you could have it in the evening?
No, dear. I can't change the time.
Okay. Just wondering.
Sorry.
Just wondering.
Yeah. So that's, in very simple order,
Will you be making a DVD of tomorrow's seminar? for people?
No, we probably won't be doing any DVDs tomorrow. All this material is well documented on 20, not only in books, but in 24 hours of CDs. That